Well, what is a tributary? A tributary is a freshwater stream that feeds into a larger stream, river, or other body of water. North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota all have rivers that are tributaries of the Red River of the North. The area of land that contributes water to a stream or a river is called a watershed. And a watershed is part of a drainage basin. Now, all the water bodies within the Red River Basin drain into the Red River, but it goes flowing north. And so these tributaries cover it's 22,820 square miles. In Minnesota, it's 17,000 some square miles, even a little bit of South Dakota, which has only 573 square miles. And the Red River flows into Hudson Bay. We're running out of time if we're going to put the river basin together. Holy guacamole, as they say at certain places that I'm not allowed to tell you about for product placement. Oh, where does the Red River begin? It is at the, do you know the word confluence? Can you say confluence? Confluence means where rivers join. And the Bois de Sioux starts here in South Dakota. It goes north, and at Wahpeton, North Dakota, the two, they come together like that. That's the confluence. Now, what do we have? Oh, mes amis, we have to think here about who comes next. Are you hungry? Because on the North Dakota side, the Wild Rice River. And the wild rice is named so because the native people who were overwhelmingly, and this was a transition zone between the tribes of the Ojibwa Chippewa and the tribes of the Siouan peoples, particularly the Sessatonsu, they would come and harvest the wild rice. Well then, where else goes? Cheyenne. The Cheyenne comes in. Oh, mes amis, the Cheyenne River. And this is named after the indigenous people. Do you like maple? Yes. On the maple, and this is named after where the native people would harvest the sap when the sugar takes place with the sugaring. Oh, time-wise, I've got to be in a rush. And now the Rush River. The Rush is a tributary of the Maple. The Maple is a tributary of the Red. You know, we don't have anything yet on the Minnesota, yeah, sure you betcha side. I'm now going to see if my assistant can read my mind as how my hat tells her which one to put. Yes! Voici le rivière buffalo, or bison, or whatever. The native people, and then the fur traders, would harvest the bison. Well, let's keep going. Sandhill. Sandhill. Do you know anything about, hold on here. No, Wild rice on the Minnesota side. I'm sorry. I'm getting so excited about the opportunity.
Usually I have to do this myself, but I've got an assistant today. So the wild rice of Minnesota. Wild rice, wild rice. The First Nations people, as we'd say in Canada, good hunting and gathering. Well, let's continue going north, but actually downstream. And so, here is where we put the sandhill. Maybe you know the sandhill crane? That could be. But what's the cross? Oh, if that was the Rush, and the Rush joins the Maple joins the Cheyenne flows north, and Elm. The Elm River. And in the period of the early American farmsteaders, the elm was an important tree. Quack, quack, quack. She's good. She got the Goose River, which is, now how am I going to do it? Turtle. Could I go slow and get a turtle? Well, the Turtle River enters the Red River north of Grand Forks. But what could be here? If this is Grand Forks, could this be the Red Lake River? Oh, c'est merveilleux. And the Red Lake, you would go up the Red Lake, and you'd go to Upper Red Lake, Lower Red Lake, and these were the most important fur trade areas in northwestern Minnesota. Now, if you continue, snake, could that refer to the reptile or a reference to the enemies? Because the indigenous people would refer to their enemies as the snake. And then from here, forest. Now, the forest is an important river because you have a need for the wood so you can build. And then, of course, here, oh, you want to go with the tamarack? I wonder what a tamarack tree looks like. I don't know. But, hey, let's go to the Park River. Now, if you had a choice, and I'll look you straight in the eye and ask you, if you had a choice between settling at a place that had a river named Salt, or a river named Park, where would you pick? Yeah, this is the old Salt River that has been renamed the Park to lure the European American settlers. But in the time of the Métis, this was a great buffalo area because the bison needed salt. Well, all right. Oh, she is good. Yes, the Tongue River. And you know what the best part of the bison is? Tongue. Just like for the beaver is the tail. Now, she caught it. 2 rivers. And then, of course, the Pembina. Now, the Pembina starts out and goes back and forth across the Canadian and American border. But when all is said and done, now you know, and remember, the river starts at Wahpeton for the Red River of the North because the Bois de Sioux is joined by the Ottertail. Then we have the wild rice of North Dakota, followed by the buffalo of Minnesota. And we keep going north, but we're going downhill. Because water doesn't flow uphill, does it? Naturally. And then eventually by the time you get to the 49th parallel, the Red River enters Canada.